Okay, so my name is Edric Zhang, and today I'll be pitching Apple as a buy. Next slide. So first, a brief introduction of Apple, which can be broken down into history, management, performance, products, and growth. Apple was founded on April 1st, 1976 by college dropouts Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, desired to innovate computers at such a size that people could have them in their homes or offices. The former CEO Steve Jobs re-innovated Apple and successfully launched the iPhone, which was the game-changing product for Apple in the world. The current CEO, Tim Cook, however, was also a very successful leader and led Apple to become a $2 trillion company. Apple stock outperformed Nasdaq over the last 10 years, growing 400 times, which compared to the Nasdaq index is an astronomical difference, as the Nasdaq index only performed the 500% growth. Apple's products offer the iPhone, the iMac, and the iPad. Its operating systems include the iOS, Mac OS, Watch OS, and the TV OS. Apple's related services offer many digital content services such as iCloud, Apple Care, and lastly, Apple Pay. Apple has 2 billion iOS users as of today, and the iPhone has 55% market share in 2021 in the US and ranks number 2 regarding global smartphone market share after Samsung. Next slide. So the reason why I pitch Apple as a buy can be supported by two investment theses. Investment thesis one, Apple is transforming from a hardware company to a service company. First, Apple made $387 billion in revenue and $110 billion net profits in the fiscal year of 2022. Apple has 20% revenue from its services, and it keeps a 30% year-over-year growth. The iPhone is around 48% of its total revenue. iPad and MacBook are about 20% of its total revenue, and wearable devices, including the iWatch and others, contribute 10%. In the left graph, we may see that the Apple services in revenue in 2018 outperformed the Mac, the iPad, and the other products. And in the right graph, we can see that from 2007, the pink section, which displays the services in the revenue of the services has been steadily growing to around 50 billion in 2020. Next slide. To expand on investment thesis one, we can say that Apple's service business is continuing to expand. Relying on its hardware user base, Apple can continue expanding its service offering to its end users. An example of an Apple service is that Apple One is an all-in-one subscription that bundles up to 6 Apple services. It's the easiest way to get your favorite Apple service at one incredible price and get even more enjoyment out of your Apple devices. Apple One includes the best services to keep you entertained and informed, as well as iCloud storage for your photos, files, and more. These services include the Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, iCloud, Apple News, and Apple Fitness Plus. And on the right, we can see the prices for Apple One. And as you look into the Premier section, it charges $30 a month, which is around $360 a year, which is an incredible price, and it's a lot of profit for Apple since Apple doesn't really need any manufacturing price for these type of software services. Next slide. Investment thesis 2, Apple's TAM will expand from 1.4 trillion to 2.9 trillion over the next 5 years. So first, we have the smartphone, which is currently contributing 400 billion towards Apple's total TAM, and the metaverse, which will soon come out in 2024 or 2025, what is predicted to contribute 500 billion to its total TAM, and electric vehicle is also predicted to contribute not 500 but 1 trillion TAM, and the PC and tablet is currently contributing 1,000 TAM. Next slide. Apple is a better metaverse play than Facebook and Microsoft. Apple will launch its first virtual reality glasses in 2022 called Apple MR glasses. I expect this will be an innovative product as Apple has a better product design ability than Facebook and Microsoft. Metaverse will start adoption among gamers and people that like social games. Apple has better gaming ecosystem than Facebook and Google and Microsoft. According to Statista, Apple has 1 million games in its App Store in 2021, and Apple also launched an arcade game platform in 2020. I estimate that MR glasses and related content will contribute 24 billion hardware sales, and 3.98 billion service revenue with an annual $199 constant dollar per service in 2025 and $90 billion in revenue in 2030 with 100 million units sold and $900 average selling price of MR sales per year, which stacks up to a 20 billion service revenue in 2030. Next slide. Apple's electric vehicle initiatives will help the valuation re-rate. Tesla is trading around 1.2 trillion market capitalization compared to Apple's 2.5 trillion market cap. The Apple car is the next 5 to 10 year stories for Apple. The reason I think Apple will be successful to launch its own branded EV in 2024 and 2025 can be listed in the following reasons. Apple has the best supply chain and manufacturing management capability. Apple is able to get high quality components at a cheap price. Apple's hardware design and engineering is one of the best in the world. Apple has one of the best mapping data through its over 1 billion iPhone users globally. Mapping data is very critical for automotive driving systems. Apple has one of the best software teams and platforms for EV, and Apple's iOS has over 2 billion users today, and Apple has successfully launched Apple CarPlay. The electric vehicle is expected to have 35% of the passenger car market in 2025, which is about 25 million units per year. If Apple has 5% of the passenger car market, which is 1 million units in 2025, Tesla is valued at 1.2 trillion with around 900,000 Teslas to be sold in 2021. Thus, we can conclude that the EV business will increase Apple's market capitalization by 50% by 2025. Next slide. So Apple in its following 10 years, if Apple could successfully grow the metaverse and electric vehicle business over the next 10 years, I expect Apple's revenue to grow 200%. If Apple could sell 4 million cars in 2030 with an average selling price of $60,000, Apple could make $240 billion in revenue in 10 years. If Apple could sell 100 million units of MR devices with an average selling price of $900 in 2030, Apple could make 40 billion service revenue in 2030 with $399 annual revenue per users. If Apple could double its size of revenue in 2030 with more service revenue and higher valuation on EV and metaverse industry, I think the return from investing in Apple for the next 10 years would therefore be 200%, as the metaverse and EV's valuation will be higher than Apple's old products. Thus, I set Apple's price target for $450 in 2030, which will